That day, a young man who loved road trips decided to share the most terrifying experience he had ever encountered while riding his motorbike to Vung Tau. What made the story so chilling wasn't just the darkness of the road or the isolation. It was how easily ordinary travel turned into a nightmare. The story began from a comment he once read on a ghost story video, but what he experienced that night felt far too real to dismiss as mere fiction. It all started around 3 p.m. after finishing work in Ben Tre. He, his girlfriend, and two close friends prepared to embark on a journey that would take them from Ben Tre through Saigon and all the way to Vung Tau. Their hope was to reach the seaside city in time to enjoy the evening. At first, the excitement of the adventure kept spirits high, laughter mingling with the sound of the motorbike engines. But as the traffic thickened along Nguyen Van Linh Street in Saigon, tension started creeping in. Two of his friends, weary and complaining about fatigue, decided they would stop and explore Saigon instead. Only he and his girlfriend were determined to continue the long ride ahead. By 7:30 p.m., the group had crossed the Cat Lai Ferry. The sky had turned dark, clouds heavy with rain, and the drizzle began to fall lightly, tapping rhythmically on their helmets and jackets. His girlfriend pulled out her phone and opened Google Maps, hoping to find a shortcut that would get them to Vung Tau faster. But they didn't know that technology could also lead them straight into danger. Google Maps guided them into narrow alleys, completely dark, with barely any light from street lamps. Tall trees flanked both sides, shadows twisting in the weak glow of the motorbike headlamps. The roads were slick from the rain, and each puddle seemed deeper than the last. As they ventured further, they stumbled upon a military area. Guards appeared suddenly, and their voices carried authority. "You cannot enter here," they warned. "This area is dangerous." The warning was unmistakable. Beyond this point, the path could be lethal. It wasn't just the risk of getting caught. It was the feeling of being completely alone in a restricted area, with the unknown lurking behind every shadow. Many travelers to Vung Tau had recounted similar experiences, and now he was living it. Despite the unease, they pressed on, guided solely by Google Maps. The drizzle turned into a steady rain, soft yet chilling, as it soaked through their jackets and made the road slippery. Approaching the Non Trach intersection, Google Maps directed them onto a tiny road near a solitary gas station. At first, houses lined the sides of the street, giving them a false sense of security. But soon the buildings thinned out, replaced by endless stretches of rubber trees and scattered cornfields. The asphalt ended abruptly, giving way to red dirt, slippery and uneven. The further they rode, the more isolated they became. The only sounds were the pattering rain, the hum of the motorbike, and the occasional distant rustle of leaves, sending chills down their spines. By 9 p.m., the rain had become heavier, drumming relentlessly on the helmets and the sparse tree canopy above. The road, now nothing more than a muddy track, seemed to stretch endlessly into darkness. Then, ahead of them, a large, abandoned villa appeared, silent, imposing, and eerily lifeless. It was the kind of place straight out of the ghost stories from Da Lat, a mansion whose presence alone sent shivers down their spines. As they rode past the villa, the impossible happened. The motorbike's lights flickered and went out. The engine sputtered and died. They were left in absolute darkness, the rain masking all distant sounds, surrounded by nothing but rubber trees stretching endlessly on either side. Fear gripped them instantly. Every instinct screamed to turn back, but the slick, muddy road offered little traction. The only option was to push the bike forward. As they struggled, the unease intensified. At one point, the ground gave way beneath them, and the bike slipped into a small ditch. Panic surged. "Just leave the bike and run," his girlfriend shouted, her voice barely audible over the rain, but he refused. Together, drenched and shivering, they pulled the bike from the ditch, muscles screaming, hearts racing, the adrenaline flooding every vein. The forest around them seemed alive, whispering in the wind, shadows twisting as if watching their every move. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. Their clothes clung to their bodies, water dripping into boots, chills crawling across their skin. Each step required careful footing on the slippery dirt, and the looming forest seemed to close in from all sides. Occasionally they thought they heard footsteps, low whispers, or a branch snapping behind them, only to find emptiness. The fear was tangible, almost physical, pressing against their chest like a heavy weight. Eventually, after what felt like an eternity, they managed to return to the gas station where the journey had taken a turn toward peril. They were exhausted, soaked, trembling uncontrollably. The attendant looked at them with wide eyes, disbelief and concern mingling in his expression. "You were lucky," he said quietly. "If you had continued down that road, it could have been the end. Dangerous terrain, potential robbers, or accidents. No one survives alone out there at night." A month later, he realized the terrifying truth. Google Maps had led them onto a pedestrian path, completely unsuitable for vehicles. The realization made the hairs on his neck stand on end. The memory of the endless rows of rubber trees, the relentless rain, the abandoned villa, and the engine suddenly dying haunted him constantly. The night, which began as an ordinary adventure, had turned into a lesson in fear, humility, and respect for the unknown. This story serves as a stark warning for anyone planning a trip to Vung Tau. Avoid narrow, dark, and deserted roads, especially late at night. Sometimes curiosity and reliance on technology like Google Maps can lead you straight into danger, far beyond the scares of any ghost story. Even now, whenever he recalls that road trip, he shivers. He remembers the red dirt path, the abandoned mansion looming silently in the rain, the engine that died without warning, and the feeling of being utterly alone. Each recollection brings the same cold rush of fear, a reminder that adventure can turn into terror in the blink of an eye, and that the line between reality and nightmare can be terrifyingly thin. And so, the memory lingers, a chilling tale whispered on stormy nights, warning all who dare ride alone into the darkness that some roads are best left unexplored.